I'm talking about carbohydrate addiction because that is why I weighed 371 pounds. I was addicted. It wasn't like I was eating whole pizzas or 8,000 gallons of ice cream. And you read about some of these 300-pound people and you go, oh my gosh. But I was just having carb. The snacks were carb. If I had to have a snack, I wanted chips, and then I would be eating them and the bag would be gone. I was self-medicating with food because my life was so frenetic. I felt so much anxiety, and I didn't know, was I depressed because I was fat, or am I fat? What is it? Am I depressed because I'm fat, or whatever the analogy is? Or is it just depression and that's making me fat? The thing is, it wasn't until I tackled through Pray It Off my addiction to carbohydrates that I was able to lose 170 pounds and keep it off. Through Pray It Off, 138 pounds. The thing is, I had to change my whole life. My whole life. I didn't say I'm going to lose 100 pounds, then I'm going to have pizza every week. I didn't say I'm going to lose 100 pounds and then have PB&Js and pierogies and sausage sandwiches at the fair. Anyone who misses a week of Pray It Off, now there's a few exceptions to the rule, but you miss a week and you think, I got 2 weeks, and you see the scale go up, you know it's because you've made these wrong choices. 75% of those who are overweight and many normal weight individuals are addicted to carbohydrates. It's caused by an imbalance, an over-release of the hormone insulin. And too much insulin results in too strong an impulse to eat too often, and a body that too readily stores food in the form of fat. Did you ever feel there were days where you go, I'm so hungry, I need something, I need a snack, I need a snack. That's an addiction. That's an addiction. I don't do that anymore. I don't wake up and go, what am I going to eat today? What am I going to have for a snack at 9:30? I eat. I make mistakes, we all do, but for the most part, eating is part of life. I look forward to the fish, the cauliflower, the hummus. I like to eat. I don't say, oh, food is my enemy, but it's not that hunger, that need, that, oh, I'm on vacation, I've got to eat all the bad things, or I'm out to dinner, I got to do this. You need to retrain yourself, because when you mess with your insulin, I used to think I couldn't lose weight because I tried this diet or I do this, or like someone said tonight, about how it's the longest she's ever been on a diet, weight loss related group, because you fail. You think you're going to do it and you fail. The blood sugar cannot easily enter the muscles, nervous system, or organs, and all that energy gets channeled back into the fat cells, and you're gaining weight. Even though, and you know, if you're good for a while, and you're going to Pray It Off, and you're really watching, and then you have a couple of bad days, you can gain 4 or 5 pounds. Sodium, the fat cells expand with water, the insulin's going, where do I go? I'll go to the fat cells. It's easy. Anyone who doesn't think it's easy to gain weight, raise your hand. I don't think there's anyone in the group who doesn't think it's easy to gain weight. The Carbohydrate Addicts Quick Quiz. After a full breakfast, do you get hungry before it's time for lunch? Do you have a difficult time stopping once you start to eat starches, snack foods, junk food, or sweets? Can you have 1 or 2 potato chips? Do you sometimes feel unsatisfied even though you just finished a meal? Because if you do, it's not about the food. Does the sight, smell, or even the thought of food sometimes stimulate you to eat? Because if that's true, do not go to the fair. Do not go. Sight, sound, people. You're sitting there going, look at that kid, look at that guy. What is he eating? What is he drinking? Do you sometimes eat even though you're not really hungry? Oh, I didn't eat because I was hungry. I ate because it was what I did. It was what I had trained myself to do. 9:30, Pavlov's dog, eat. Oh, 11 o'clock, snack. Eat. Was I hungry? I never even thought about hunger back then. Also, are you sometimes unable to keep from snacking at night? I still say to people every week, why don't you go a week without snacking? Just have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they look at me like, Are you talking to me? And then they're like, me? I can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can. It's doable. You can eat 3 meals and not snack. It's your choice not to. Now, you might say, well, Ellen, I got adult have diabetes and I have to do this. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody else. Do you get unexplainably tired and are hungry in the afternoon? Oh my gosh, you go around work someday. You see people go, you know, and you saw that bring them in their takeout lunches, you know, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'd have to sleep for a week after that. Have you at times continued eating even though you felt uncomfortably full? Oh. Have you been on diet after diet only to lose weight and regain it again? Oh my gosh, I thought my name would be written underneath that. I thought it would say, I'm talking to you, Ellen. If you only have 0 to 2, you do not appear to be carbohydrate addicted. There might be a couple people in the room who might be at that point because they've been here. They've trained themselves. They've learned. 3 to 4, you appear to have a mild carbohydrate addiction, which at times you may be able to control, although not at all times and with some difficulty. 5 to 7, you are moderately addicted to carbohydrates. You can control your eating, but you find that stress, premenstrual changes, or your wife's premenstrual changes, tiredness, boredom, unexpressed anger or pressure may increase your carbohydrate cravings. Unexpressed anger. I could do a whole session on that. Maybe I will. Unexpressed anger. How many of us go through life with unexpressed, and all of a sudden some innocent bystander walks by in your life. Like I had a friend who had unexpressed anger and the telemarketer called him one night. Oh my gosh, it was like the worst night of that telemarketer's life. He's like, why are you calling? He's the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. He's nice, kind, but he had so much unexpressed anger. And who'd he give it to? He told me this whole story and I was like, oh my gosh, you know. 8 to 10, you have scored in the severe carbohydrate addiction range. You may be struggling to control your eating without even realizing that your body has been fighting you, literally driving you to eat and then storing the excess food energy as fat. That sounds bad, but guess what? It is changeable. You can change it. I'm living proof. Many of you in this room are living proof. By correcting the underlying physical cause of the addiction itself, the cravings, weight struggles, health, emotional, behavioral, psychological, and even spiritual problems associated with this hormonal imbalance can literally fall away. And you're stopping going, what? How do you correct this underlying physical cause? What doctor do I have to go to? What medicine do I have to take? What surgery do I have to go through? You don't have to do any of those things. All you have to do is have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and no snacks. All you have to do is have perhaps egg beaters or kashi with skim milk, turkey with perhaps 80-calorie low-fat bread for dinner, fish, veggie. You cure yourself over time. You cure yourself. Willpower doesn't cut it. Because if you don't make a mental commitment, you will fall off that wagon so fast. And it's true because people do it here. They'll have a week and they'll say, I did it. Oops, the fair. And then you play mind games with yourself. I'm going to do great after the fair. And then you say, ooh, wedding. I'm going to do great after the wedding. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day. You run your whole life around all these holidays. And it just never really works. The only way to return balance to your body's insulin level, and you know, this might sound like bad news too. Those of us who have gotten out of shape, we can never really cure ourselves totally because all my fat cells are still in my body. They're there. They don't go away. You don't lose your fat cells unless you have liposuction, which I haven't done. They're there. And so if I'm not vigilant, if I don't struggle, they're all ready to go. Womp, womp, womp. They're ready. They're there. They're waiting for it. It's like Satan's in the fat cells. And he's like, come on, Ellen, why don't you have a couple of those chocolate-covered potato chips? So, it's waiting. When a non-addicted person eats a carbohydrate-rich meal or snack, the brain chemical serotonin is released, and with it, a stop eating signal is given. Upon finishing the meal, the non-addicted person feels satisfied and complete and will remain so for several hours. They don't take their last mouthful of lunch and say, wonder what I'll have for a snack this afternoon and what's in line for dinner. Their lives do not revolve around the food. In time, and insulin resistance continues, even the fat cells close down. Now the blood sugar remains trapped in the blood, and the carbohydrate addict is found to have developed adult onset diabetes. I went to the doctors, 370, and a nurse practitioner, and I usually love nurse practitioners. I think they're great. I love what do you call them, the medical guys, the guys and gals, physician assistants, love them. But she took one look at me and she goes, well, I know why you're here, adult onset diabetes. And I go, no, that's not why I'm here. She goes, well, you got it. I go, I don't think so. I think you do. I go, I really don't think I do. I think you do. I think you're fooling yourself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. So I had all the tests and I didn't have it. And yet I thought, why was she like that? And then I took a good look in the mirror. Well, Ellen, you're in your 50s and you weigh 370. Why wouldn't you think you had it, you know? Through the grace of God, He helped me. And those of you who have gotten it, you can reverse many of the effects. Many of the people who've been in the group have said they've taken less medication, they're doing better, they're managing it. For those of you who don't have it, consider yourself in a program now where we can work on preventing that. Remember this phrase here. Without realizing it, if you eat too many simple carbohydrates, you're self-medicating, giving yourself foods that will help bring your blood sugar levels back to normal, but only temporarily. Within a short time, the entire cycle will repeat itself, leaving you craving and needing carbohydrates once again. You know, Pop-Tarts, chips, bagels, bread. That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to stop there, Bob. I can't see the main clock, but I'm